So, according to the Pew Research Center, more Americans now say government should take steps to restrict false information online than in 2018. Now, this particular news article from the Pew Research Center is dated August the 18th, 2021. So let's just take a few lines of the mumbo jumbo . Amid rising concerns over misinformation online, including surrounding the, and I'm not going to say the name of it, especially not going to say the name of it, Americans now have hit a more open to the idea of the U.S. government taking steps to restrict false information online. And a majority of the public continues to favor technology companies taking such action, according to a new Pew Research Center survey. Yeah, right. And then they're going to give you some phony statistics. Roughly half of the U.S. adults now say the government should take steps to restrict false information, even if it means losing some freedoms to access and publish content. Well, it's basically saying that Americans want the government to do all their thinking for them. It's basically saying that we want to give a license to government and to corporations to do all our thinking for us. And incidentally, fascism is simply government and corporations jointly ruling over the population. On one day when you get up in the morning, you might think the government rules everything. And then maybe the next day, when you go shopping, and you're told certain things by the stores where you shop, you might think corporations rule. The truth of the matter is, corporations are in bed with the government. And the two of them together highly control and now highly restrict good information, healthy information, correct information. So I have to take you back to what I've harped on for quite some time, and that is the Smith-Mott Modernization Act. Okay, now it started out as the H.R. 5736, House Resolution 5736. and then it was placed into NDAA, National Defense, whereby they put everything together and lump sum it together. And what happens is that the HR 5736, which went into NDAA 2013, Section 1078, Congress stated openly and clearly that propaganda is completely acceptable. Completely. In other words, it's okay to lie to the American people. And no source of news, whether it be your television station or your radio station or your newspaper, has to tell you the correct information on any subject. In other words, you're at a total loss. A complete and total loss to know truth and to have truth in your life through the news agencies. It's easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled. By Mark Twain, who played one of the presidents, by the way. The Smith-Mont Modernization Act. You can look it up in NDAA. I believe it's 2013. And it is definitely Section 1078. Anyhow, back to this article. This is all a bunch of baloney. We're trying to convince you that people want government and corporations to do all their thinking for them. In other words, you're not to think at all. And I have to admit that the vast majority of the population is exactly at that point. Whereby they allow the government and corporations to do all their thinking for them. So what does this mean? What this means is, first of all, you have to break the yoke. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you go back to some of the imagery in the Bible about the animal world. They utilized oxen for plowing. And to get the oxen to perform together, they would put two of them under a yoke, meaning their heads and their body frame would sort of be matched almost in the same spaces, but a few feet apart. So they had to work in tandem. Or you could put a yoke on a single oxen. But the purpose of the yoke was to enslave the animal to the purposes of the owner or the master. Now the yoke has been put on your head, and they are trying to say, now next to you, on one side of you in this yoke, is the government. And if you want to make it a triple yoke, on the other side of you are corporations. So I'm saying break the yoke. Don't allow your head to be hooked with the head of what is called government. Don't allow your head to be hooked to the head of corporations. Break the yoke. Get away from it. This is completely false. They lie. And they have permission to lie under the Smith-Mont Modernization Act. And it sounds great to people. Let's modernize something. Oh, it must be wonderful. No, it's not wonderful, because the Smith-Mont Modernization Act said that propaganda once was legal to broadcast outside the United States, but it's not legal in the U.S., but now it is. Smith-Mont came out of World War II. And they said in Smith-Mont's original proposal, we can broadcast false information outside the shores and the boundaries of the U.S. to any country we want, but not to American citizens. Well, guess what? That all changed in the year 2012 when it was passed. I believe it's in the document 2013. Okay, Section 1078. And I've talked about it on my other channels over and over again. Not only that, in public life, occasionally, I will tell people about the Smith-Mont Modernization Act and legalizing propaganda. And you know what? Even when I tell people, it has little to no effect on them whatsoever. In other words, people love to go to their television set and turn it on and let somebody tell them what to think. People love to go to the internet false news sites and read it and think they're so educated. And they don't give a hoot that you will tell them. It's in writing, black and white print writing, that the Congress passed legislation that said no one has to tell the truth to you on any subject or in any form of media. Smith-Mont Modernization Act. So those are the people now that are going to restrict false information, right when they already told you that it's okay to lie and give falsehoods. So anyhow, the Pew Research Center is false. This is not what people want. Okay? And it's absolutely incorrect. But once again, it's just another lie coming right at you. The devil is the father of lies. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Don't believe the father of lies. Believe the Word of God. That's what you can trust in. You can't trust in the word of government. You can't trust in the word of corporations. Trust in the holy Word of God for all truth. Once again, I'd like to thank you for watching. End of video.